Hello, everyone. Good. Hello, my technology is working. Finally. Awesome. I'm so delighted to be on here today. I've got two phenomenal guests with me, and I've hidden them down below. I'm going to bring them up one by one. And the good thing is, and the wonderful thing is, they just got a book release, and it's the right time to actually share and grow their knowledge. It's all about retail today. It's all about retail relevancy and how this new book can give you some really good, wonderful insights to the world of retail and what's going on in the past. I've read it, or read most of it anyway, and what's going on in the future and today. So I'm going to bring up John Andrews, who's an expert within the realm of retail marketing. So vast experience. I'm going to let, rather than me talk about him, I'm going to let him have a little snapshot. John, how are you?
Hello, Jason. How are you doing?
Should I keep Ted behind or should I bring him up as well?
No, bring Ted too. Ted's great.
There we go. Ted,
there he is.
I'm just going to move you all around here. So welcome. Welcome, John, and welcome, Ted. Look, it is about your new book that you both co-written, and you've also joint venture on Photofy as well. Is that correct? So I'm reading both of your bios on LinkedIn.
Well, we first connected when John was at Walmart and I was at Elf Cosmetics. John shortly thereafter started Collective Bias and dragged me in kicking and screaming. Thank God. He set my future up for me with that. We were building content and working with influencers when people really didn't even call them influencers. They called them other things, media producers, bloggers. And then we partnered together on Photofy, and now we're working on, we just finished the book and we're working on a lot of new things. So it's exciting times.
Brilliant
stuff. As Ted says, we don't do individual projects anymore. So if you want one of us, you got to take both. I mean, it's it's a package deal.
Well, when you find someone that works really well together and like each other really well, there's a really good combination of shared knowledge and shared growth and shared creativity. I would have assumed. So, John, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we go to Ted, and then let's talk about the book and retail.
Yeah, just a quick snapshot. I'm a lifetime marketer. Started as a brand marketer. Back in the day, had the opportunity to work for really big companies and some startups. And I was talking to somebody about this today, that the difference in both of those types of organizations I love, because they play off each other and feed off each other. And I'm glad that I had the experience of both. So I'd say, I worked for Fortune 1 and Fortune Infinity. I spent some, as Ted said, I spent some time at Walmart. I had a great opportunity to build a people as media program called the Walmart 11 Moms there, which kind of became a rough structure for how we designed Collective Bias, and really have just enjoyed thinking about the changing space of retail media over my career.
And it has all changed completely. Like I've been involved in footfall tracking and people tracking and taking data analytics from the real world and putting it into a Google Analytics platform. And it tracks people around stores and facial recognition, and also connects to the EPOS till. So you get a really good, rich understanding. But the challenge there was a little bit of data privacy. People don't want to be sort of recognized by the facial recognition. But Ted, what about yourself? Quickly introduce yourself as well.
Well, I'm Ted Rubin. I'm old. I'm 63 years old, so you don't want to hear about everything I've ever done. But I kind of got involved in this whole, what I call this realm of the world, in 1997 when I joined Seth Godin at his startup called Yo-Yo9. And this was before Seth was Seth. I was fortunate to be there when he started a lot of his brilliant thinking about permission, about how ideas spread, about permission was really, it was the lead into where a lot of retail has gone today. And I've had a few points in this part of my career since 1997. First, it was meeting Seth and getting involved in the internet in the early days. Then it was joining up with Elf Cosmetics, which was a young startup cosmetics company that was strictly selling their products online, and gave me the tools and the ability to try out any ideas I had, which I really had never had that opportunity before. I went in there as a marketer with no marketing budget and was told, whatever you can think of, we'll try. So that was really cool. And then as that was evolving and developing, I met John. As our relationship developed before I was able to join him, he just involved me. John's like me. He's a community builder and a relationship builder. And he just kind of dragged me in and said, okay, if you can't work here, let's work together. And thank God, because that was the next evolution for me, was joining John, becoming his business partner, and doing with content, engagement, and relationships what I had always thought could be done, but really didn't have the tools to do. And we've been kind of doing that ever since. And like you said, a great partnership. I call John my business soulmate. He's my buddy, but like it goes beyond just business. It's just like we connect. We have certain different skills that really meld well together. And I think both of us recognize our shortcomings and what we don't have, and when we need others to help us with that. So I think that's been a big plus. And this book was a labor of love for John. My books, I've always had help with them. I had an editor that helped me write them, that I would get on the phone with her and just blurt out what was in my head. But John really managed this whole thing. He wrote most of it. He agonized over it when he wanted it to be what, sometimes you can say something, but you can't express it the same way in writing. Yeah. And that's what took us the time to really get this book out, longer than other ones I've worked on. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited for John's voice to be heard.
So the question I was going to, how did this book come about? What was the inspiration?
A great question. I think, we started this before COVID started. So, things were changing, and then COVID happened in retail, and COVID happened, and they moved forward. The changes that were happening moved forward 5 to 10 years. When you think about, right before COVID, consumer adoption of e-commerce was still below 10% in the States. And, I remember reading an article in March of 2020 that Walmart in March of that year had 30%, went to 30% of its customers tried online pickup, and I'm like, wow. Like you can't imagine that scale of change. So we wrote through that process and just talked about, the difference. I was talking to somebody about this today. I can get a TV from anywhere, right? Why does Best Buy matter to me now, except for service, install, Geek Squad? I mean, all these reasons, right? But my basic need is I need a TV. I really don't care where I get it from, unless there's points of difference, right? I mean, it's just the easiest thing for me to do is just order a TV from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I don't like it, I'll ship it back. If I have a problem with it, they'll take care of it. They've taken away all the things. So how are retailers going to remain relevant in a time where people don't have necessarily a physical connection with the store, maybe ever,
So the question is, I was actually thinking of this because we can all buy stuff online. It's easy, like one click and it's delivered and whatever. But I don't know, there's some sort of experience that you go to a retail store and you want an experience. You want to go in there and feel valued. Like Ted, you say return on relationship. And I think there is a little bit of people, if you go to the store regularly and you go, he's doing something with his, you're confusing me. Are you hypnotizing me? I'm not sure. But, there is something there within a relationship with the store. And if you go there regularly enough, hopefully they will recognize you. Or
Sure.
if they're good enough and the salespeople are good enough, they will welcome you into the store, which you don't get in online world.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, most stores drop the ball in this respect.
Yeah.
In a huge way because of either a big thing that has become evident during COVID is a lot of people don't want to go back to these jobs where they're paid poorly, where they watch the stock price pump up every single month. They look at these are all public companies. They're looking at the earnings reports. They know what the CEOs are making, and they're still getting paid $12 an hour or $15 an hour. Right. Why should they either come back, or even if they do come back, why should they work hard when they're there? I mean, I was just over at Lowe's, and they solved a problem for me, and I could not care less because they didn't even do it with good graces. They basically held up their arms and go, "Hey, we don't have much stock. Take what you can take what we have." I'm like, "So what do you have?" "Oh, I don't know. You got to go pick them. Then we got to go look it up. Then we got to tell you 10 times in a row we're out of stock on that." Now, meanwhile, these people are sitting around half the day doing nothing. Why aren't they? Even if the data or the computers are not up to the point where they can give that to them at breakneck speed, why aren't they going in and finding out what?
And Ted, but the bigger question, and Jason, you asked a great question. Why we write the book? Right. It is inexcusable that Lowe's today could not. There's not an employee at the store that could go into a system and find Ted what he needs and get it to his home. And your point is well taken. I ordered a massive TV for my bedroom because that's what you need in your bedroom is like some cinema sized TV, right? But I ordered it from Best Buy because of Geek Squad. To your point, I never stepped in a store. I went online. I ordered that. It told me exactly what bracket I needed for it. I ordered all the parts and scheduled an install, which was like 3 weeks in the future, which I thought was a little long, but I didn't care. Some people showed up at my house and put this massive TV on my wall, and I'm done. And to your point, that is going to be the future of retail. Is however, wherever, whenever a shopper wants it, and however they want it, that's how they're going to expect to get it. And Amazon is making it really hard for people because I don't have to worry when I order something from Amazon, right? Ever, unless I order from a third party, which I typically don't do. I
want good at what they do.
What?
I said they're really good at what they do. You know when they're coming, almost specifically within the hour,
right? My Alexa tells me your package is 10 stops away, 9 stops away, 8 stops. I'm like, it's insane how, but that's the floor now, right? That's my expectation. And it's not just retailers, it's any kind of business now. I expect to have that level of, to Ted's point, that level of knowledge about me, that level of relationship with me. That's the floor. And if you're not doing that, I'm just not going to do business with you.
Or recognize you can't deliver that, so give something else in exchange. We all make value exchanges in our life. If you are nice to me, if you treat me like family, if you know my name when I come in, if you say to me, "I'm really sorry we don't have what you need, but I'm going to find you something to solve your problem," and you say it with sincerity, to me, that's something that makes up for the things that you maybe can't do. So again, to me, that's a huge small business opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's the larger enterprises, as you alluded, probably don't care as much as the smaller business owners. Right. And the smaller business owners, you walk in there and any retail store, and they genuinely care. They got a smile on their face because they know they have to make an impact. So how can we work with them even more so? Because everyone, I know here in Ireland, there's a big thing now that supports the local stores, and you have to support the local stores. I go into my local fishmongers and they got a big smile on their face because they want business. They go to my butchers and they want business, and go to the independent stores and they're happy to see you, mostly anyway, unless it's raining.
Is it always raining in Ireland?
It's all right today. It's okay. It was a bit cloudy, but it's okay.
But some of the things like John's talking about is, and you can deliver this in multiple ways, but one of the lines John and I came up with a while back was simplicity is the new everyday low pricing. That was Walmart's theme. Everyday low pricing. You don't have to worry about sales. It's always going to be there. Well,
we're going to get the lowest price.
The new EDLP is simplicity. Make it easy for them, and they will buy from you again and again and again. And what John was just pointing to is the idea of frictionless retail. The door. One of the lines John came up with that I loved is that the doorstep is our new store shelf.
Yeah. And that's Roger Dooley created the word frictionless in his book about that simplicity, and that's exactly what you're.
And I will tell you that when people say, oh, well, we're not Amazon, we can't do that, that's nonsense, because I'm seeing so many great direct-to-consumer startups coming up now that are doing that. And they're not, yes, don't get me wrong. I know they've got a lot of funding. It's not like a mom and pop starting on the corner, but they don't have nearly the funding of a Lowe's who could do this, or a Target that could do this, or some of the other companies that could do a better job. But companies like Vistro, where I get vegan meals, or Hydrant, where I get a mix for my water, or Green Chef, and they alert me. They tell me when my order's coming up. So if you want to cancel, you have 2 more days to cancel. Literally go in, click a button, move it. And I'm willing to work with these people, because when I do want to cancel, when I don't want something, when I want to change an order, they've made it incredibly easy.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got to tell you, some of these small companies, they're even, I know you probably haven't heard this word in a long time with startups, but they're even profitable.
Oh,
yep. Oh, that's good.
That's a crazy idea.
Crazy. Why? Because they built their business in a way using the technology and the tools that are available, instead of having these legacy systems that they wait and wait and wait and wait before they're ready to upgrade. Why? When they have so much profitability, it's frightening. Mm-hmm. And they're not willing to invest that in their stores and in their people.
I'll give you a real world example of that. So my local grocery, my grocer is Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter is part of the Kroger organization. They bought them a few years ago. They have, POS systems that do not have any tap capability. So I can't use my watch. I can't, and I'm like, why? Why? And to your point, there's a little mom and pop Italian restaurant right next to them that brings me a little toast module to my and I pay when I want. I love a restaurant where I don't have to look for anybody to pay the bill, right? It's you scan the QR code, you pay whenever you're ready, and you walk out. So these guys can do this, and I realize Toast is doing a great job of enabling this for people. But this huge and I literally, it starts to affect my desire to go shop there, because half the time I run around without a wallet, without anything, but I always like, oh, it's no problem, I got my watch, it's not a problem. If I can't pay you in the simplest way possible, in any way I want possible, I'm out. And that's a simple thing. That's not got anything to do with inventory or anything else. It's just let me.
I think most people, I was going to say, most people now, I haven't touched any euro notes or dollar notes in almost 2 years now. I just don't use them. Every now and again, I might take some money out, but over the last year or so, I just can't remember the amount of times that I have done. And I think that's the same as everyone. Just tap.
Isn't it great that you don't have to go to the cash machine all the time anymore?
I just love it. I'm going to walk in the morning. I was walking my dog this morning, and I could go by Starbucks knowing I don't need anything. All I need is my watch, right? Yeah. And pretty soon it'll be, to your point, it'll be facial or something else. Just if somebody wants to give you money, you should make it, that should be the easiest thing possible for them to do, you know? And it's not an optional or, oh, well, you know, our systems and it's expensive and whatever. No, you can do it. It's a POS system. Make the POS company pay for it. They take a cut. Who cares?
What's the future? What is the future? How can we revolutionize the retail marketplace at the moment? There's huge amounts of startups around the world that can make a difference. We also know that there's booking engines and this, that, and the other. You can book your place in restaurants and all of that. But what else is there on the next level? I know there's artificial intelligence, but how is that all playing a part to the bricks and mortar store?
You know, I think it's different for different categories, obviously, but I believe in consumables. I believe consumable buying will go away. And what I mean by that is dog food, toothpaste, peanut butter, anything that I buy on a regular basis, Amazon can predict when I need it and just send it to me, right? And as Ted says, Ted gets an alert when one of his food companies is going to send him something. It says, hey, we're going to ship this to you in 2 days. Do you need to modify it at all, right? Pretty soon they'll be good enough that they'll know that we got it, right? And if they mess up, Ted will let them know and they'll tell them to keep it, or they'll say, you know but I believe that you're going to automate all of the things that we don't really want to think about. I don't want to think about buying paper towels. You know, I just want paper towels when I need them, right? And every once in a while on our doorstep shelf, I will see a box of Presto, I think is the brand, which is an Amazon brand. And
it is, yeah.
And it's the size of a small car, and it goes in our closet. And when I need paper towels, there's paper towels, right? I don't think about it. I think for other categories, I really do believe exactly what you said, Jason. There is going to be relationships that are built that keep you in the profile. Ted has been talking a lot lately about, the failure of customer service and that being like the critical point of marketing. Ted's famous for saying the one time you have a customer's 100% undivided attention is when they have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And you can make a customer for life, or you can lose 10 customers in that moment based on what happens. And more often than not, something happens that you lose 10 customers because that one customer is gonna tell 10 more. Versus, oh wow, they fixed my problem. I think about Ted's problem. Imagine somebody says, man, we got this $2,000 oven, but it's scratch and dent. You can get it for $500. He'd probably be like, awesome, I'm out. Yeah. And so I really believe the relationship side of brand, because when I'm not walking in a store anymore, the only thing I'm going to have is the brand, the brand resonance in my head. And if it's not there, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see really big gains in customer experience and engagement as the tools become sophisticated enough to actually make it human. Because right now, it's really not ready for prime time. Most of the AI that's there, it's automated. It sends out messages that shouldn't be the ones going out. It's very mechanical. It's early. I mean, we haven't gotten there with that. They've solved a lot of the physical delivery problems, which are probably beyond my technological, how they're going to get flown here, or whether it's going to be drones, whatever it's going to be. It's just going to be more efficient. It's not going to add to this customer experience where you know who I am, where you know my product history, where you know what I like and I don't like. And I believe a lot of this is going to swing back to the way it was when your local merchants really knew you and you walked in the store and they said, Jason, have I got a cut of meat for you? Your family is going to love this, because I remember the last time I had this, you wanted it back, so here it is. And we don't really have that now, even in most small businesses, because they don't have the tools, the memory capability, the other things. And I think a lot of the big retail we're seeing now, I mean, it's getting there. Like John said, Amazon is starting to learn. Things are happening. I bought a range from a third party through Amazon, and it's not getting delivered. But I get a thing from Amazon telling me it's late. If it's not here by this day, then the next day we will give you a full refund and find another one for you.
So they're taking over. They're taking over that role.
Right.
I was going to say,
they can't be responsible for the delivery of that product, but they can be responsible for the customer engagement and the customer experience I'm having. By the way, I left. So I went out and replaced this thing just because I have a tenant moving in and I had to get something. And then I actually said, you know what? I need 3 more ranges. I'm renovating 3 more apartments. I'll let it come when it comes. But what am I going to do? I go onto the Amazon site. There's no place to return it. But literally within 3 hours, I get a thing from Amazon saying, if it doesn't get here by this day, come back to the site and you can just get your money back. You know, again, they're taking over that role, but I think others will too. And I think the software, as it improves, will allow smaller merchants and other people to have that kind of touch that we don't get right now. John, one of the things John and I also say is that marketing will win when humans control the machines instead of machines controlling the humans. Right now, the machines are controlling the humans because it's not sophisticated enough. I think it's going to get to the point where with the touch of a button, it can be modified, it can be fixed, and that interaction will be more human and more of a feeling of concern and care for the customer.
Yeah. I was going to say the bots, they're really sophisticated, but there's a little bit of frustration in there as well. Because personally, I would like to speak to someone. I'd like to speak to someone that is local. I'd like to speak to someone that is not a call center that is in India or wherever in the world it might be. But I'd like to speak to someone that's local that really understands me, that I can connect with. And it's probably the same in the US as well.
Well, and I think you're going to see AI recognize that in a stress pattern in your speech or something else and automatically do that because it realizes, you know, I'm not able to help you as the bot. I need to get you to a human. Right.
And I think there'll be AI that, like, the reason we have a problem with a call center is not because I have any problem with Indians or with Asians, or I want someone that I can fully understand because my ears are just not as good as they used to be. And when someone talks with an accent, you know, it's sometimes difficult. And I think there will be AI that will allow those call centers to be where they are, but for us to hear it the way we need to hear it.
Yeah. I know they did try that with Cockney accents for Londoners and all of that.
But it's not ready for prime time.
No, there is a speech recognition technology out there, and I know a company called Refract that helps customer service, and they can pick up the tone, the tonality, and all of that sort of. But I don't think it's fully there yet, and it's a little bit slightly off. But I think we're getting very close to it.
So I'll leave you with this to finish answering that question. If you want to look at the future of retail, look at Nike. So Nike just passed a really momentous milestone. Nike now sells more than 50% of its products direct.
Wow!
Right? Because it realizes it needs to control the experience, right? It's like Apple, right? You know, they want to control the experience. Nike is amazing on Insta. I like a model of Nike called the Nike 270, right? And they don't do this often, so it's not annoying. But every once in a while, when they have a new colorway, I start getting 270s in my feed, right? And I order them, I never have to leave Instagram to do it. They have my info, they have everything. And a couple days later, I get a new pair of shoes. Nike gets all the margin, right? It gets a data point on, wow, John's got 5 pairs of Nike 270s, right? We're going to give him number 6 in 3 months. You know, I mean, it's got everything it needs. I think you're going to see in a lot of categories. Again, this is not everyone can't do this. But Nike knew 5 years ago it didn't need stores. I don't know if you remember when they did the purge and they went down to, I think it was like 30 retailers total. They're gonna do another drop and then it's gonna be gone. You know, and I don't know what you do as Foot Locker at that point, because Foot Locker with no Nikes is not that great.
Yeah. And I was gonna say I bought stuff on Instagram, but they know me. They checked out my history. They know I'm into running, so they gave me an advert for a head torch, a running head torch, and I went, "Oh, I like that," and I bought it straight away. And I went, "Oh, there's I've got a problem with my foot when I run now." So then they just show me a whole load of adverts of insoles for my running shoes, and I bought it again.
Of course. I mean, the more, we went through this phase in digital with third-party data that everybody thought that was going to be magic, right? And if I had these data points about this customer, I could sell anybody everything. And it just turned into a spam festival. Yeah. And doing the work, what Nike is doing, what Instagram does, doing the work of really understanding the breadth of it. Because Instagram knows that you've been out to the mall, you've shopped online, Instagram has this whole view of data points that gives it the power to begin to customize these conversations versus just filling all of my feeds up with crap,
Yeah. I was thinking,
Jason, I was laughing because you used the British expression torch, and all I can think of is fire coming out of your
flashlight, flashlight, headlight.
Tomato, it's a. I was actually thinking of the integration between the two, offline and the online world, connection between the two. Facebook knows that you've been to Nike store. They know that you've been to the retail store. So that integration between the two is paramount, how we can get both of them. And that's where I alluded to with the people tracking and all that, because I think that's gone way ahead. I was into that about 5-6 years ago, but I can imagine where it is now.
Google, think about what Google knows about you. And those are powerful systems, I believe, if used respectfully for the shopper. Unfortunately, I think many brands use them very disrespectfully by just absolutely going for volume and quant conversion. It's hey, if I send 1 million ads, I get 100 orders. Oh, well, I'll send 10 million, so I could get 1,000 orders. Right?
I think that they still have not recognized the downside of their marketing. And I talk about this a lot. We talk about customer experience with products, customer experience with customer service teams. We don't talk about customer experience with our marketing. And I think that's where a lot of stuff's going to take shape in the future, when there is an easier view into the downside of our marketing. Right now, it's just very difficult to see, and most companies don't make an effort for it. So all they see is what John's talking about. If we tweak this up a little bit more, we get more sales. Yeah, we're banging more people over the head, but we're not really seeing how that's hurting us. And I think as these tools develop, there's going to be more of a view into when you get to that point where you've gone overboard. And this
person's received 100 messages from us in the past week. It's too much.
Right. All we're seeing now is the efficiencies and inefficiencies of it. Meaning we send enough messages, we get enough uptick. Okay, we don't want to do any more because now they're not responding, instead of, they're responding negatively. So we're losing customers because of this. And I think a lot of those tools will become evident and become second nature to marketers as we evolve in this space where the AI products and all these other learning tools come into play.
You'll always hear people in the email marketing space say email's still the most effective tool. And I'm like, it's not. It may provide the most results, but it is a quant driven game. I love that Google partitions my inbox into promotional messages. I literally will dump it every once in a while. I'll have 2,500 messages over the course of a week. I'm like, who's going to do that? Sure, you are going to get results, but you are also going to alienate potential customers. And I think that's exactly what I agree.
Yeah. If you spam people too much, like myself, if I get 3 or 4 messages a day from the same company, I'll just unsubscribe from them because it's annoyance. They got to really understand that if you do it when you want it, that's behavior. You do it when someone's actually interested in wanting to have that product or service or whatever it might be, as opposed to throwing loads of stuff at the wall as they say, lots of shit at the wall. So
I don't know if you've noticed this. If you're a Gmail user,
Yeah.
Google's doing that for you now. So very frequently now, Google is saying, "Hey, you just got a message from, XYZ brand. You haven't opened any of those. Would you like to unsubscribe?" And it just does it in a thing. And I'm like, "Ooh, yes, I'm just going to automate that process. Like, hey, if I haven't looked at something in a while, just unsubscribe. I don't,
Oh, we have to speak to Ted because he was yawning, so we have to keep him stimulated here.
Ted's working hard down there in Florida, man.
I'm stimulated. Don't worry.
Look, we are talking about your book. When was it? It was out just before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yes, came out December 10th.
There it is. There it is.
Came out December 10th. It's actually got lots of pages
with words.
With words.
Well,
I'm sorry, awesome. There are no pictures except for me and Ted, which
and
pretty nice.
It is available in softcover and hardcover. I have the softcover version. And look, I'll tell you that it really was a labor of love for John. We worked really hard on this thing. We actually realized we had wanted to. Our original plan was to get it out before COVID. I think it's lucky we didn't, because again, like John said, things started evolving so quickly that we had to go back and revisit some of the book, because things that we of course thought should happen weren't happening, and all of a sudden, because of necessity, our worlds have changed, and companies have recognized that they can do things they thought they couldn't do before, that people would actually want their groceries delivered. Oh my God, that people could work from home, that people could work remotely and be as effective or more effective than they were when they commuted and came to the office. And I think it changed a lot.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And you can get Michelin star food deliveries now by the likes of Deliveroo and all of those companies that just pivoted because you still wanted to eat well, but you couldn't sit in a restaurant.
Right.
So they had to deliver it to you. So, all of that stuff is just made a difference. And I think a lot of companies like that, especially in retail, had to pivot very, very quickly. Ironically enough, there's a company here in Ireland called Pennies. They didn't have an online platform. They're a massive retail store here, but they didn't do their online stuff. They just waited for everything to open again, which I thought was a bit mad. But that's their business model, and it seems to be working back for them. But other bigger stores have sort of pivoted and changed things very quickly.
Sure.
But
I think they had to. I mean, there and I know it was, very unfortunate for many retailers, very, very unfortunate for many people who did not do that, but many did. And to your point, big companies and small companies alike did what they had to do, and it's kind of running a business.
So where can we find your book? Where in the world is it?
Well,
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Where else would it be?
And do we have an audio? Do we have an audio version?
We do not have an audio version. And John, do we have the Kindle version yet?
Kindle version was working. It should be available soon. Okay. And maybe when Ted and I are together next, we can crank out an audio version at some point.
Well, truth be told, audio version takes a certain level of professionalism that I don't think John or I have. I was fortunate to have someone put my first book, Return on Relationship, into audio version. And now that you're making me think about it, maybe I'll reach out to Ben and see if he has any interest.
It'd be great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's got an amazing voice. And look, John and I only listen to audiobooks now, so why should we expect anybody else to read?
I love audiobooks. I do.
Ironically enough, I've actually been buying a lot of physical books recently because I don't know why. I've got Audible, I've got Kindle, but I've actually been buying lots of physical books because it's actually quite nice. It doesn't hurt my eyes. I can flick it over. It's quite tangible. That's the way I like it now.
No, 100%. For me, it was a COVID thing as well. John and another really good buddy of mine, Steve Spiro, who's one of the first 8 employees at Audible, had been pushing me for a long time about how great Audible books are and how much more you can get through and how much more you can get done in different times. And I resisted and resisted the way I do. I'm not really good with change. But during COVID, there was so much I wanted to learn. I was trying to take advantage of this time. And, you know, we were going through all these crazy things, you know, with Black Lives Matter and all the different things going around the world and the country, that I just really decided to educate myself. And I couldn't keep up with the reading on a reading level. I just, first of all, I'm tired. You know, you have to have the right conditions. And I finally jumped into Audible, and now I am so spoiled by it. If it's not available on Audible, I very often say pass.
Plus, you can put it at 1.5 speeds or 2 speeds if you really want to digest a lot of books.
So I guess if I want to really be retailly relevant ourselves, John, if we want to be retail relevant, we better get our book available.
We probably got to get an audiobook.
At end of January, that's your target. That's your mission. If you choose
I like it. I like to have a goal.
You have a goal. I like to keep people accountable. So I will come back to you at the end of January and make sure you both.
Are you done? Thanks, Jason.
Listen, anyway, one thing I've really learned, if I don't do it right after I think of it, it doesn't happen. So as soon as I get off this, I'm emailing Ben and asking him if he's interested.
Anyway, guys, John, Ted, you've been absolutely wonderful, always as usual. I really appreciate this, and I'm sure this will be floating around for the next couple of weeks on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, and I put it up on YouTube as well, all live today.
Thanks, Jason.
If you could please get us the links. And Jason, I want to thank you for both of us, because we reached out to you for this. I really appreciate you supporting us in this book launch. And as always, and I know you know this from me, and I can tell you John's the same way, if there's anything we can do to support you, please let us know. And don't be like, you know, we're both busy like everybody else. If you reach out to either of us and don't hear back for some reason, ping us again. You know, we miss things like
I will do. I have your number, Ted, so I will ping you. Thank you, guys.
Jason. Many thanks.